Good evening again. Welcome along. A bit late. It's been a funny week. We are doing the review show now. It's like every week this week in this season. There's been some funny results. I mean, Arsenal losing. What can I say? This is Leicester Till I Die. It's the review show, and this is what you're watching.
It's time! Strap yourself in, because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts. Till I Die TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
And now, here's your host.
Right, Chris.
All right, welcome along. As somebody a lot more knowledgeable about this game than me once said, it's a funny old game, isn't it? Who would have thought Brendan Rodgers would still be in a job? Not me. This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Thank you for watching. If you are on YouTube, if you're new, please do what it says just there. Give us a subscribe. And if you are listening on your favourite podcast platform, thank you for lending me your ears. This is where we are.
Watch us on YouTube. Listen on your favourite podcast platform. Or ask your smart speaker to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die. Broadcasting live worldwide.
Some call him the Builder. Other people know him as Mr. Bristol. All I know is he's called Anthony. Good evening, sir. How are you? Welcome along.
Yeah, not too bad, Chris. How are you? You all right?
Well, I've been better. If we take the football out, I'm actually not too bad. Put the football in and it's like, oh, where's the pills?
Oh, tell me about it. It was a disappointing weekend all round for my team and your team. So.
Yes. I mean, well, unfortunately, we do have to talk about both those games, but
yeah.
We can maybe just, if we leave those out, maybe people won't notice.
Yeah.
But it is a funny game, a funny season. And I said this last season, but again, this season, there's some funny results popping up, isn't there?
There is funny results, yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, one of them stands out for me, which was a couple of weeks ago, was Leeds United beating Chelsea 3-0. Now, who would have thought that?
Yeah, I know. Exactly. Spencer's in. Good evening, Spencer. How are you? He says, evening, I listened to the Tony Cottee interview today. Brilliant. Thank you very much, sir. That means a lot. He was a gentleman. He came straight on the show after doing his Leicester City stint on lcfc.com. So it was very good of him. And this is the, when they always say that, there's the nice twin and there's a horrible twin. Well, I'm pleased to say we've got the nice twin in as well. Richard, hello, how's you? Hello, Ant, not seen you since Sunday. You've been in hibernation.
Yeah, he's a Man United fan, all right. Yeah. Have your laugh and all this now, Rich, and all that. I'll get my own back when we play you second game of the season. Into the season.
I'm going to be honest with you. I lost out on that game because I thought you were going to trounce Man United. So there we go. Shows what I know. Yes. Well, like I say, it has been a extremely weird season. But let's go. First of all, thank you very much, like I say, for joining us at quite late notice. How can
That's
people
okay.
find you?
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at my name at Anthony Herbert. You can also find me on LTIDtv, obviously coming on here as well and doing some shows as well to Leicester Till I Die. And you can find me on Football United TV. But you'll find me on Football United TV every Friday now because I am the new host of the Gunners from All Corners. And that'll
Oh,
be streaming Friday at 9 o'clock, I believe.
Fridays at 9. Well done, sir. Well done. Your link to your Twitter is in the description on YouTube, so people can follow you there. And I'm sure get all your links. But I mean, let's start. And form goes out of the window in the Merseyside derby always. But I would never. I mean, well done to Everton for getting a point.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I was actually in the pub watching this game, and it was with a family. We sat down having a family meal, and I had the screen literally in front of me where I was eating. So I thought, well, that's a bargain.
Yes.
And I was watching it, and to be honest with you, there were spells of the game where there was a little bit of excitement, but most of it was a bit flat. To be honest with you, I mean, I can remember I can't remember who took the shot for Everton, and they hit the upright of the bar and the post. I think, to be honest with you, Everton was unlucky in this game. Absolutely unlucky, because if that ball would have been in the back of net, as we know, they would have won 1-0. They put up a great fight against Liverpool. They were really well defensively. Obviously attacking, weren't too bad as well. But there was times in the game where it was flat, and then it'd pick up again and then go back flat. So, but yeah, I mean, fair play to Everton. You can't argue with that result at all.
No, and I mean, we can't argue with anybody from our position as Leicester fans. God unite, but I mean, they've got it the hard way. They've got 4 points. They've got it the hard way with 4 draws in the last 4 games, but it's not been a good start for Liverpool. I mean, they're sat now in 7th. They've got 2 wins, 3 draws and a loss. Losing as they did, I've got to be totally honest with you, and Richard will like this, and I thought an absolutely superb performance from Man United, but they are already sort of 6 points behind yourselves at the top of the table.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I think it goes back from if you stem back from the first game of the season, obviously when they had Fulham and they drew 2-2 that game. And they were struggling a little bit, weren't they, to find their recent form. Their new striker come in. Took him a little bit of time to find his feet and being welcomed to the Premier League and seeing what that was all about.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're not doing that well this season. You most probably would have thought they would have been up in the top 3 at least. But
yeah,
I mean, at this minute of time, is not too bad, because it gives the teams that finished mid-table and just below mid-table last season are gradually either with them or just above them. So this is what makes this season interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking here. I mean, Liverpool nearly 60, well, just short of 61% possession. They absolutely, dominated that. But as we know, it doesn't it doesn't win you games.
No, it doesn't. No, I mean, to be honest with you, Chris, I'm not really I do look at possession and things like this and that, but I'm not really a stats man, to be honest with you. But I mean, I look at stats, and stats didn't really win you a game. It's how you play on the day. If your players are good, you're putting 100% on the pitch. That I'm all for that. But yeah, I mean, it was just they're unlucky. They couldn't win the game. It's like what I said with Everton as well. You can't how they've been of recent form in that with Everton, and compared how it was last season, just surviving relegation as well. you can't argue with them in this game at all. So you've got to give Everton some credit.
Yeah, and it's a derby, and
And it's a derby as well, and anything can happen in a derby.
It can, as we both well know,
Yeah.
Next game, I mean, you mentioned before there that Leeds had the shock result against Chelsea. I had them as finishing 20th this season, so shows what I know. But 5 games, drawn 1, lost, drawn, lost, and they've got Forest this weekend. Come on, Leeds. But Brentford, again, a mixed start themselves. I mean, they had that great game against Man United, where they beat Man United 4-0. But they then went and lost to Fulham. Again, mixed season for them. But my God, did they put Leeds to the sword 5-2?
Oh, they did. Yeah, I can remember when we were watching the football scores coming in on Saturday. And to be honest with you, I think it was Ivan Toney's his hat-trick. I think it was within the first 30 minutes of the game, there roundabouts. And I just couldn't believe it. Leeds doing, obviously beating Chelsea as we know, and then coming here and playing against Brentford, and this happens. But it just proves that this Brentford team, anybody that's playing Brentford this season, I mean, it's not exactly a walk in the park for these top teams. Yeah,
we were 2-0 up against them, and they came back and took a point, off us.
Yeah, I mean, and then it's just the way how they are. But I think with that manager they've got there, I think he's a good manager. He's got that team really sorted. I think they've bought 1, maybe 2 players in this season. I mean, obviously not extremely big of big value, but I mean, look how they've gelled in the team pretty much straight away. They're playing well. So, I mean, all fairness, I mean, Brentford can go on and do different things, but it'd be nice if they can get a good couple of decent players and actually go on a run and get most probably finish up there in that top 10. So, but yeah, I mean, fair play to them. I will say one more thing. If it wasn't for that Ivan Toney, I don't think they'd be as good. And the key to Brentford is don't let him get injured. Do you know what I'm saying? Keep him injury free. You've got more chance of obviously winning games and gradually creeping up that table.
Yes, yeah. Good evening to Terry, who's just popped in the chat. I'm just showing what you said before about stats can mean nothing in that game. 5-2, you'd think it was pretty much all sort of one-way traffic, but again, they had only 31% possession. Did Brentford, and less shots, and they still managed to win 5-2, not missing Ericsson at all.
No, they're not. No, and to be honest with you, nothing against Ericsson because he's a good player, and obviously what he went through in the Euros is nice to see him back in the Premier League and playing. But it just proves that sometimes these players, when they leave a certain club, obviously like Christian Eriksen with Brentford, you thought them who's probably struggled this season, but they've got off to a really good start, better than what they did last season. I mean, we lost to them open day of the season last season, Arsenal. We lost 2-0. But, I mean, compared to where they are in the Prem last season to where they are now, I think they're pretty much above that. I think they're quite a few places above where they were last season. So,
yeah, no, I think they'll have another good season. I think they've got a great manager and a great team spirit. I mean, not bigging us up, but I mean, I would say almost you're possibly looking at the new Leicester. And they sat there comfy, sort of in 8th place. Won 2 games, drawn 3, 9 points. You can't moan at that start. Unfortunately, we do have to talk about this next team. As much as I don't want to, because I think they're rats and they completely messed our pre-season up, and that's Chelsea. Who absolutely, to be honest with you, I think when a club isn't wanting to sell a player, you do one of 2 things. For me, you either say, okay, you're not selling him and you walk away, or you're saying, right, what, you put in our case, 80 million price tag on him, we will give you what you're asking. Not drag it out as they did.
Yeah, I to be honest with you, I mean, it was dragging out. In all fairness, Chris, it reminds me of the Tielemans deal linked with Arsenal. That was a constant drag out, and I got to be honest with you, it was a bit of a balls up as well, wasn't it? In all fairness, thinking that we were going to get Tielemans by before the window finished, but
the
obviously
news come out today. Let me just get it up that I saw that
Liverpool.
No, about Arsenal. Arsenal pulled out a Yuri Tielemans deadline day transfer because they lost belief in the out of contract Leicester star.
That I don't know why, because they were hanging around with that wanted to get that, what's his name, Douglas Luiz from Aston Villa, and they went into 3 separate bids, and 3 times they turned the bid down, and Villa even told Arsenal he's not for sale. But he's leaving. He's going on a free next season. So Arsenal thought, well, if we come in with a £25 million bid, we most probably will get him.
I honestly think you would have got him because we were all set up. But I mean, Nippon says here, friend of comes in just as we're talking Chelsea. The difference, we paid the money, but you see, it didn't, because why do as a team like Arsenal? And I'll be honest with you, I thought when they got rid of Abramovich, the biggest crook in football had actually disappeared. But it looks like you got another one, because you're coming in, you don't care about other clubs, completely disrupt them and go like, yeah, you want 80, we'll give you 40. Oh, fuck off. No, tell you what, we'll up it. We'll give you 50 now. Well, fuck off. We'll give you 60. Yeah. I mean, how many times? And these big clubs, no disrespect Nippon, but I really hope. It was a shame that they didn't actually sort of shut Chelsea down with Abramovich and just got rid of Abramovich. I mean, you have no respect for other clubs, and that might be me sour grapes, and I'll take that on board, and it says, and in fairness to Arsenal, you just never came in with an offer. You weren't messing us about.
No, he wasn't. I think, to be honest with you, it was. Trouble is, though, you see all this in the limelight, it pings up on your phone, you hear it on Sky Sports News and all this and that we've been in with Tielemans and all this and that. The way I look at it is with that Douglas Luiz, that was a plan A. The plan B was Tielemans, but they went so strong with plan A. And what they didn't bother with was plan B. They shoved that aside, which was obviously Tielemans. So this is what I was saying. They should have went back to plan B and said, right, in that case, then we'll have Tielemans. Because Tielemans, I read that he was, it was 25 million, but he was going to go low down as 18. But the other thing that I read also this week was Liverpool. They've just put in an 18 million bid for Tielemans. If it gets accepted by Friday, by the end of this week, he will be a Liverpool player in January when that window opens. That's another thing I read today. So this is what's happening, and and
who knows? Who knows? I mean, at the moment, we could do with the money. But all I will say to Chelsea is good luck with Fofana. Because in 2 years' time, when his real suit club that he wants to play for, and it depends which social media you go or how far you go back on his social media, his dream move at one point was Real Madrid. The next point was PSG, because he's his friend. So this dream move to Chelsea, in a couple of years, mate, when they come knocking for him, he'll do the shit on you as well. And I've got to say, unlucky West Ham United in not getting anything off Chelsea, because again Chelsea, they're in 6, but they've only won 3 of those games. They've had a bit of an iffy start for all the money they've spent.
Well, yeah, they have. And to be honest with you, this is actually the main game that I wanted to talk about, was the Chelsea and West Ham game. And to be honest with you, Chelsea was absolutely sorry, West Ham was absolutely robbed. That should have been a penalty, which obviously would have been most probably been a 2-2 draw, by the way.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
am going to say VAR ballsed up there. I've never been I've never liked VAR. I've got to put that out there and be honest with you, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing as well, I actually heard even Alan Shearer said that on Match of the Day. He said VAR. Do you know what? I think it's going to be a time where VAR they're just going to get rid of it because a part of it, to be honest with you, I think is not good and it's destroying the game.
Yeah.
I reckon it's honestly, I reckon it is. And the facts and the proof is in the pudding with this Chelsea and West Ham game. So, you know, I just think they will get rid of that VAR and scrap it. I mean, because at the end of the day, who's got the final decision? Technically, it's the referee, but apparently you've got two people that's monitoring VAR, one saying one decision, the other one says another decision, you know. So if there's a clash between two people that's actually monitoring these videos and you know, obviously these replays, this is what the mockery is with VAR. So in all fairness, the best thing to do is just to get rid of it.
I mean, we used to talk at the end of every game. You would say the referee had a good game if you didn't talk about him.
Yeah.
And the referee made mistakes. And you were kind of, you know, as much at the time we didn't really appreciate it. But, you know, looking back, it was a human error. And if he got it wrong, he got it wrong. The problem now is you have got a machine that is supposed to cut that out, still getting it wrong.
Yeah.
You know, Nottingham Forest should not be in the Premier League if the VAR guy hadn't been licking whoever it was, John Moss's arse for his last game of the season. You know, he's ever going to ref.
Yeah.
You cannot have a. There's two things that I don't think you should do. You should never have a referee that supports or comes from the area of a particular team, and he should not be reffing that team. You know,
that's right.
If he's a Leicester fan, he should never. You know, it's like Kevin Friend is a Leicester fan, and I don't think he ever. I could be wrong, but he should not have reffed any Leicester games. And he's from Leicester, and because he's in that again, that should exclude him. We should not have referees judging their buddies week in, week out. It's like me, and it's like me being a builder and me coming around and going, "Ooh, yeah, Anthony, you know, that's a bit of a dodgy thing you've done there, but yeah, it's all right. We'll let it go." You know, you have building inspectors that come in that are completely independent. So the people that run VAR, and I've been shouting for this for ages, should be ex-players. And I know you're not going to get the likes of Wayne Rooney and those sort of players, but when you're talking League One, League Two, where they're not going to get a job in the media when they've left, you know, they understand football. How many referees have actually played the game at a level that's even League Two? I don't think there'll be one of them. They have done it on the park on a Sunday, something like that, but they've not played it regularly. So you should have, they'll look at that and go, well, yeah, I can understand why that's happened. So it's not intentional. So there's kind of that you can't have it's mates judging mates.
Yeah, it's just wrong all round, really. I just feel like, you know, the VAR should be gone. Like what you said, the referees. I mean, don't get me wrong. We're all human at the end of the day. We all make mistakes, don't we? You know what I mean? Yeah. So if a referee makes it, depending on how bad the mistake is, if it's a certain blip, we could just let that go, can't we? Just tuck it underneath the carpet and it's done. If it's a real bad blip, then people are going to talk about it. But I mean, it's like what you said as well. Referees that support these teams, they should never be allowed to referee that game, their team that they support. I believe that happened on the weekend as well. That was, and no word of a lie, I read that it was our game, the Arsenal Man United game. The referee was apparently he was a Man United fan, like, you know, he's a real proper fan of Man United. So, but yeah, is that, and you know, you're right, Chris. I do agree with everything you said there. So
Yeah, I mean, James said here, well, first of all, he says, yeah, ex-pros should get involved. Highfields, good evening, Highfields in the house. Use VAR to see if Brendan's pushed out of the trap door yet. Oh, I wish. What will happen is David Moyes, unfortunately, will get fined for his comments. Do you know what? Again, this is wrong, is referees should come out and if managers are, then referees should be coming out and being forced to face the camera straight after the match.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, anybody that can override a VAR decision surely is going to be the referee. Surely.
And we expect referees, like after that game, to come out and stand there and not criticise. We're not allowed to criticise the referees because, oh, no, they're untouchables, you know.
Oh.
But...
Yeah.
You've got to come out and do the PR bit. So why haven't referees? You know, you shouldn't be fined when you're saying to somebody, you've got to come out when you've just lost a game with a dodgy decision. You've got to come out and keep your cool and not say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so get the referees out then and explain it. Because if a referee came in the old days out and come out and said, you know what, I can't do anything about it now because the game's over. Yeah. But from where I was stood, it looked to me like a penalty, or it didn't look like a penalty, whatever. And maybe I probably got it wrong, but at the time, and you would say, okay, you'd be a bit annoyed, but you kind of understand it, wouldn't you?
That's right, yeah. And do you know what gets me? Is before VAR, everybody used to moan at the referee, right? And then you'll have the football manager. And what they do is when they get up on their touchline, they're arguing with either the third or the fourth official. Right? We've all seen it. But now VAR has come into the game. When a decision happens and it goes against them and he feels like, well, hang on a second, I think that thing's wrong, and the referee's agreeing with it, you still see the manager on the touchline. He's still arguing with the third and fourth official. So
I know. The managers sometimes have only got themselves to blame. Diego's in. Hello, Diego. Mic up the refs. He says, would that make? I don't. I'd sooner VAR be monitored by ex-players than miking up the ref. I really don't know whether that would help us.
I don't know. It's an ideal, but I don't know. I mean, I think they've got it in rugby, haven't they?
So I don't know, but anyway, West Ham were unlucky. Chelsea should not have got the 3 points. Points. Certainly not. No 3 points didn't go to Newcastle or Palace. Again, I had a really bad week in the prediction league, and it was a Newcastle 0, Palace 0. And I think you got to stay with this one. Well done to Palace to go to Newcastle and come away, because I don't think there's many clubs will do that this season.
No, there's not. No, and I think I totally agree with what you just said. You have to give Crystal Palace some credit there. Obviously, I think Patrick Vieira, his tactics are spot on. He's the sort of manager that says, right, well, in this game, I can't see us scoring, but if we don't score, they're not scoring. The opposition is not going to score, so we'll just leave it at that. Yeah. And all fairness, they've done that. But I got to be honest with you, I watched a little bit of highlights on Match of the Day, and what I've seen of this game, I don't know if it was really a good game, to be honest with you, Chris. No. I mean, obviously, I know it's 0-0, but trouble is, though, I've seen quite a few 0-0s where it's been, all right, it's been no goals, but there's been a bit of entertainment in that on the pitch. I think with this game, I don't think there was a bit of entertainment on that pitch. Sorry, so it was a dire, but it's what both teams deserve. A point at 0-0, a point each. Move on to the next game.
Yeah, Rich is in. Good evening, Rich. How the devil are you, sir?
Hi, Rich.
James again. Newcastle were robbed by VAR decision. That goal should have stood. The Palace defender pushed the Newcastle attacker into their keeper. See, again, an ex-player would have looked at that and went, yeah, he's putting the fast one then. Because they know all the tricks. You know what I mean? Yeah. But as Diego says here, glad with the waypoint. I can't lie. I think you will, because I say, looking though, I mean, Newcastle, they've only won one. They've had 4 draws. So, again, there's a lot of teams in not getting off to the start that they... I'm pleased because it means that not that all these teams aren't pulling away from those of us at the bottom. But it has been a funny one. But again, it was pretty much, I think, straight down. The middle. It could have gone either way. Like you say, that goal probably should have stood. And then we come to, well, all I can say is Bournemouth. I know I live just outside Bournemouth. I felt for you when Liverpool were going to go beat you 9-0. And in fairness, I wanted Liverpool to get a 10th goal because that would have broken Man United's record of winning 9-0 at home. And our record of winning 9-0 away would still have stood because obviously winning away is a lot harder than at home. But I just say, Nottingham Forest 2, Bournemouth 3. Bournemouth, I love you.
Well, I got to be honest with you. This was a shock because I think, what was it? Forest was winning, weren't they?
They were 2-0.
2-0. Yeah, 2-0. And then obviously Bournemouth came back and scored these 3 goals. Like just basically, they were just like the bloody blue. So, but then again, I look at this result though, Chris, and with them going 2-0 down to Forest and then coming back winning 3-2. Maybe that wasn't too bad in sacking Scott Parker. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
I know
I'll
it's
be honest
harsh.
with you. I was surprised when he was sacked because I think it was like harsh because everybody has a bad game. Well, if you're Southampton, you get a few games like that. But obviously, living down here, speaking to some of my mates who are Bournemouth fans, there's more going on with Scott Parker than just that one game.
Right.
I'd got, for me, Bournemouth to finish 19th, and that was not because they were Bournemouth. That was because of Scott Parker, because I don't think he's a Premier League manager.
No.
He didn't at Fulham, and he's good in the Championship, but he's not a player. But in a bit of a way, in the way that Brendan Rodgers has been sneakily having a dig at the owners in every press conference he does, Scott Parker was doing the same, but not necessarily being just a sneaky. So that was the excuse that the owners needed. Do you know what I mean? The owners were sat there, right, we can get rid of him now. So well done, Bournemouth. Thank you so much for doing that. I love you dearly.
But then again, it makes me think why Nottingham Forest lost, because they're the only team that I know that actually signs 23 players in a season. Now, how are they all going to gel? They're not going to know each other's style of playing, not yet, in all this and that. But I mean, to be honest with you, I have watched a couple of their games, and I got to be honest with you, I think the best player that they've got out of the whole lot is the keeper on loan from Man United, Henderson.
Yeah,
that's the best player that he got.
I think that the reason I didn't have as much as I hate them, I didn't have Nottingham Forest to go down. I thought they would stay up. Yeah, the biggest plus for Forest is the manager, Steve Cooper. He's a good manager, and I think he will go on a bit like Graham Potter, a couple of seasons, and I think he will then sort of move to a bigger club.
Yeah,
possibly Leicester, who knows? But when I didn't know this, but apparently the Nottingham Forest side that came up from the Championship by the playoffs, well, they were lucky because of, again, stupid VAR decisions, but there was a lot of loan players in there. It was literally the whole, they had as many as they could have, if you like, so they had to. But 23 is a ridiculous number, It's like letting a kid loose, a rich kid loose in a sweet shop. There you go, darling. Go and pick what you want. I'll have that and that and that and that and that. Who's that little Britain? I want that one.
I know.
That was that's Nottingham Forest in the transfer window.
It was. I didn't get it.
You can buy too many, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, how they will stand with financial fair play, I do not know. But
well, that's what I was thinking about, because what wasn't it like? I think they did that with Man City once, didn't they? Going back a few years ago. They were signing a few players in that, and it was like with their wages as well. they're on about I can't remember what it was now. They were either going to pay a fine or they were going to be like thrown out the Champions League or something like that, weren't they? If you remember, but they managed to get away with that, which okay, fine. But I mean, regarding Forest, I would have thought at least let's say realistically, maybe 5 or 6 players in this season, and then that would have been it. But
well, I mean, when it comes to FFP, when we come to sort of a certain game that was played on the Sunday, remind me, because FFP has got a big shadow over my club at the moment, which is why it will explain a lot as to why things are what they are in that. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting game. When we host Forest in a couple of weeks, so that's going to be very, very interesting indeed. Spurs now. I know you. I obviously I don't want to big Spurs up too much because you're an Arsenal fan. But not having the good start that you've had, but they seem to make hard work at this game against Fulham.
They did, yeah. I mean, obviously the scoreline said it there. It was like obviously it was 2-1.
Sorry, can I say that is a fantastic answer from Terry. FFP does not apply to Forest. They've been out for so long, they don't have accounts.
Yeah, that's true.
So, sorry, carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, this scoreline 2-1, it was exactly the same scoreline as what we when we played against them. We beat Fulham 2-1. But to be honest with you, I like this Fulham team. You know, I think they got a good manager there. Their striker, obviously, he's getting the goals at the minute. You know, obviously, the goals are coming from somewhere, and they're coming from him. It's the same again. What I said against with Brentford. If anything happened to this player, like an injury, then you think to yourself where the goal's going to come from Fulham. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that signing the ex-Arsenal goalkeeper Leno, that's helped them. You know, partly in goal. They play good football. Interesting. They signed Willian now, aren't they? The ex-Arsenal and Chelsea midfielder. Yeah. I think they're good. That they're very good at attacking and passing. You know, they got that bit of flair, passion up front. Where they're sadly lacking for them is just slightly in defence. You know, that's their only problem. But you know, apart from that, but it's like what I said.
Sorry, it'll be interesting to see with Mitrovic, as you said, he didn't have a brilliant time last time they were up here, so it's a big season for him.
Yeah, this is all different. See, I mean, most probably sometimes it's like when players play for a team. You know, they get promoted to the Premier League and they don't play as well. They get relegated, have a season in the Championship. Then when they get promoted, their sort of mentality thinks, right, I didn't do this last time I'm in the Prem. I'm gonna, try and do this. And at the minute, he's doing it and it's working for him. So
unless you call Norwich or Watford, and you just carry on doing the same stupid things.
Oh well, yeah, that's true. That is, go up and down.
I take your point, but they've also got a better manager now. I think as they
they have. Yeah,
I'm not thinking against Stock Parker. He's a nice guy and he speaks very highly. Yeah. I know when we won it, he spoke very highly about us, but I just don't think he's a Premier League manager. The interesting thing with that match is in the whole game there was only one offside. I don't think I've ever seen a match where there was 3 offside. Sorry, 3. I thought it said 1, but I mean, if we have a look, I mean, Tottenham, I thought they were really, really going to sort of, and I think they're not. They're only 1 point off, but they've won 4 of the games. They've not lost any this season. So, and I think they've got a good manager in, and I think this is probably the best chance they've got. And you probably won't want to agree with me, but the best chance that they've got of actually winning something this season.
That's Tottenham, yeah. I mean, if it's definitely not a trophy they're going to win, it's most probably definitely top 4 in the league.
Yeah,
you know, I've got them. Yeah. In all fairness, I got them down for at the start of the season. I had them down as 3rd, with Arsenal 4th and Man United 5th.
You
know?
and me both. You and me both. I had Tottenham third. Don't ask me where I got Arsenal. But
But yeah, it's, I mean, to be honest with you, I think that the signings about, I think he's having that elite manager is Conte. You
yes,
know, I mean, he doesn't stand any messing around with players and this and that and the other. The player seems to like him. They're playing well for him. You know, that they're enjoying playing for him. They understand his tactics and his philosophy as well. So, you know, I hate to say this, and even though I'm not keen on Tottenham Hotspur, but you know, I feel that this season they'll have a good season this season.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Next game, I mean, again shows what I know about football. I had Southampton to go down, and they've not had a bad start. And credit to Ralph, another manager that out tactics Rodgers. 2-1 down, sat there, knowing he could win the game, and he made the better changes than Rodgers did. Surprised to see them lose at Wolves, because Wolves, they are actually, well, they're up in 14th, but they've only won one game again out of the 6. They've got Liverpool coming up next. They've let some go. I mean, I can't believe they've let Connor Cody go, but I think it's going to be a struggle for Wolves this season.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I think Wolves now. I think you're talking around about. I think maybe around about 12th or 14th, maybe. You know, they might finish. The only plus side that Wolves has got in this team, Chris, is their midfield. Now, if you look at their midfield, the players that they've got and how they play well in their positions, you look at that midfield, you think that's what a top 6 team would have in their midfield.
Yeah.
But apart from that, they haven't really got anything up front, haven't they? They haven't really got anybody scoring their goals that can score loads of goals. And it's like what you said, getting rid of Connor Cody, I mean, that's a problem in itself, isn't it, really? I mean, at the back there. And they've even sold Dendoncker, haven't they, to Aston Villa, their other midfielder. Which, to be honest with you, I thought was a good player because, you know, I've seen him a few times play, and he's a very good player on the ball. And with that DM, he does get stuck in, and he's an all-rounder on the pitch. But yeah, I don't know if they've got problems like Wolves, like money-wise, because they always seem to be selling these players for good, reasonable amount of money. But what if they do bring in players? It's not very dear, like, you know what I'm saying? He's only around about the 10-13 million pound mark. But yeah, I think the only plus, I mean, congratulations to them beating Southampton 1-0. But you know, but I mean, Southampton is like a team with Southampton. They
Your
play well.
favourite team.
Well, yeah. If you want to put it that way, Chris. But to be honest with you, they can pull a result out the bag when you don't least expect it. You know.
Yeah.
So I mean, fair play for them. I put it down is because they got Ward-Prowse there. They've got a reasonably good manager there, and that's it basically. You know.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, but fair play to Wolves anyway. So, you know, they got the win in that, and that's all they can do is just gradually pick up points throughout the season and just see where they can finish at the end.
Yeah. We're just going to look at Manchester City away at Aston Villa, which was another shock result, and we will do that straight after this.
Broadcasting live worldwide. Watch us on YouTube. Listen on your favourite podcast platform. Or ask your smart speaker to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Give me 5 from Leicester Till I Die TV. Join in as we look at the good, the bad, and even the ugly of Leicester City. The Leicester Till I Die shop is now open. For all your Leicester Till I Die merchandise, visit the Leicester Till I Die shop at our website.
It's very short. We look at the good about Leicester at the moment. Villa, I mean, I've called it this, the sack derby at the weekend when it's Villa versus Leicester. Barry Glendinning, when I was talking to him on TalkSport, he said that whoever loses that, he thinks will get the sack. I don't think Gerrard will go yet because I think they've invested a lot in Gerrard, and it's his first full season. In fairness, but they are struggling. But well done, holding Manchester City to a draw.
Well, yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, fair play to them. It's like what you said, holding Man City to a draw. There were certain spells where Villa could have won this game, mind. You know, they had the chances was there to actually win the game, but obviously they didn't take that chance. But I mean, it would have been obviously better for Villa and more easier for Steven Gerrard, because everybody thinks that there's going to be a time where sometime this season he might get sacked. But it's only on his record. I mean, you look at his record for Aston Villa to the games he's managed, won and drawn and lost. It doesn't look good, to be honest with you.
No. I suppose for the money they've spent as well, that's the thing.
Yeah. I mean, they have spent good money. They've kept a couple of players there that we thought was going to leave. Douglas Luiz being one of them. I think he's trying to sort some problems out, but I think there was a problems between him and Tyrone Mings went there. I think he stripped him off his captaincy.
As captain, yeah.
Yeah, so I think Steven Gerrard is there. He's trying to, but I quite like Mings, to be honest with you, and he's a reasonably good defender as well. So. But I mean, what's going on between him and Steven Gerrard, or in the backboard room, maybe, that it always creeps up from there as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, they've just got to put themselves out there and just play decent game of football. I mean, Coutinho that they got as well. Obviously because he's still there, he hasn't really been playing, or and that. So. I mean, they have given him the chance to sign good players, and you would have thought with, someone being like Steven Gerrard, now he was in his Liverpool days, and being a manager now, he most probably would attract reasonable good footballers, like, you know what I mean, from the top class and experienced ones as well, like, that's known him for a while. So, but yeah, he's I think they'd be fine, Villa. I think they'd be fine. Whether he's still going to be in a job, I don't know. But it's like what you said. This is really his full season, and people should look at it that way. Just to sometimes give him a chance, because everybody has a blip in life, don't they? Do you know what I mean? So and unfortunately, this is his.
James says here, Haaland already on 10 goals in the Premier League. He scored more on his own than we have as a team. And I think that kind of says it all. But, I mean, I remember watching him in the Community Shield, that pre-season friendly now. Yeah. And I'm thinking like, well, he's not impressing me at all. My God, he was saving it for the proper games, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, yeah. It's exactly the same, Chris. I was watching that game in the Community Shield, and he didn't really impress me, let me tell you. But, I mean, obviously, it's like what you said, he most probably saved it towards the Premier League. I mean, you look at it now. I mean, him and Haaland, 10 goals in 6 games. He's broken Aguero's record, hasn't he? And also, how many people do you think they've got him in his fantasy football team, and that? So that's what I mean.
I think everybody's just going to have him in, and everybody will just be the same as 10 roughest players, so they can get Haaland in. But, that's
right, But their favourites now, Man City now are absolutely their favourites to win the Champions League. And with Haaland to be the highest goal scorer in the Champions League as well.
Wow, it's early days, and that might be a bit too early to say that, but he's certainly he is the goal scorer that they've not had for a couple of seasons. But anyway, we'll forget Sunday. Nothing happened on Sunday. So Anthony, thank you very much for coming along.
Yeah, it's like the time, Chris. I got to get you.
I've got to go now. I've got to go, everybody. Goodbye. No, we can't. No, unfortunately, before we get in the first of the 2 games on Sunday, which was down on the South Coast, let me just tell you about this.
Now that's what I call football. Give me 5 with Leicester Till I Die TV.
Yeah, BBC Sport. Go to the BBC website, bbc.co.uk/sport, /football teams /Leicester City, or just search BBC Leicester City. It's a lot quicker. And every Tuesday, there's a lovely gentleman from Leicester Till I Die that writes every Tuesday for the BBC now, Tuesday Talking Point. And I don't pick the headlines. I just write the blog, and the BBC sort of do a headline from that. And they've got here Taxi for Rogers. He is. I've got to be honest with you. I gave him the chance last season. He had a lot of injuries. He got us to 8th and to a semi-final of a European Cup. But we've had the Chelsea dipping in and Willie won't in all that sort of trouble. We've got, we're about to announce £199 million worth of losses. Our owners are in the travel business, in the hotels and duty free, been hit horrendously by COVID. We're not broke, as a lot of people, are going around saying we are not broke, but we've got to balance the books. 4 teams, Manchester City, I believe Chelsea, West Ham and Leicester were very, very close to breaking UEFA FFP regulations last year in European competition. UEFA FFP rules are a lot more stringent than the Premier League's FFP rules. So we don't want to be in a position where we get into into the European and we suddenly get docked points or thrown out because of FFP. So our owners have got a couple of choices they can do. They can gamble like Leeds did a few years ago when they gambled on getting into Europe, didn't, and they were selling the players off for like next to nothing. Or they can try and balance the books. They're trying to balance the books. That said, this is the squad of players that, last 2 seasons got to 5th. Won us the FA Cup. Won us what was then called, obviously, the Championship of England. With the Community Shield. He's not getting. There is something fundamentally wrong that you can't just be a good manager by buying players unless you're a Pep or a Klopp at that sort of club with money. He's got to do better with what he's got. Have you been shocked by Leicester's start to the season?
Well, yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, compared to last season, and in all fairness, selling these players and it was slimy. It was like going up until round up. I think you didn't sign your first player until, was it something like 2 days before the window shut?
We got Smithers, who was a free transfer on, but he was like 3rd choice goalkeeper. It was something ridiculous.
Yeah,
it was on a free, and then we got this defender who's supposed to be very good, and we got that on deadline day to replace Fofana, and now we're letting Soyuncu go, so we're still going to be one down in the defence.
Yeah, but trouble is though, I mean, I know you go FFP and stuff like this and that, and I actually googled what teams picked up for last season, and Leicester just in the Premier League alone, and this is not like all other stuff and whatever. Leicester picked up, I think it was anywhere between, it was either 35 to 38 million. Now, that was just a flat budget. This wasn't including shirt sales. It wasn't including TV rights when they were in your, Europa Conference, when they were showing it live on the telly. It was, don't count any of that. But it was 35 or 38 million they picked up last season. Now, if you put everything else on top of that, right, it turned out that Leicester in total, I think they had round about, it wasn't far off of round about 60 million, I believe. Right. So that was one thing that I was looking into for last season. And I thought, right, well, Leicester's got this with 60 million. Now they're moaning about money in one way, but they've been selling their players. So I mean, obviously, your defender, how much did he get at Chelsea for? Was it 80 million or 85?
70 with add-ons.
Oh, 70 with add-ons, which will bring up to around about 80 in it, something like that.
About 75, 76, I think. Yes.
76. Yeah. Right. Well, okay, then that's fine. So you put that into the equation and all this and that. But with the owner, I know, like it's like what you said. His company has got. It was through COVID and all this and that, and it's through the travel business and that. But they said, let me put my light on a sec, Chris, because I
was about to say, has electricity stopped in Bristol?
I told her to put 50p in the meter.
Hey, don't come looking at Leicester. We can't afford 50p. Bloody hell.
But yeah, going back to what it was, I mean, with their business, that doesn't affect Leicester. That's a total different ball game as well. People always seem to think, oh right, well he's a multi-billionaire. These people should put their hands in their pockets and then they should spend it in with the club. I do agree with that to a certain extent, but their own business is kept aside, and whatever Leicester picks up from the season before, this is what they spend for this season, and also for all the other Premier League teams and all the teams throughout the world, basically. But it's like what I said. To be honest with you, I was very surprised that you didn't do a lot of business regarding this. And Leicester fans want Brendan Rodgers out. I can understand that to a certain degree. But
being an Arsenal fan and wanting Arteta out so much, you've got to understand that.
Well, yeah, I do understand that, yeah. But I think to myself, who is there? What manager is there around? I mean, people saying Graham Potter. You can't pick Graham Potter because at the minute he's doing things at Brighton. I don't think he would want to leave. You know, that's one.
This is the thing we've said. You know, I mean, Graham Potter, and I've got to say this is that. As bad as, we're taking all this time. Brighton did not win because we were bad. Brighton won because Brighton were good.
Yeah.
And let's make that clear. Brighton were excellent. Like when Arsenal played us, you played us off the pitch. Brighton did much the same. It could have been 6, 7, 8-0. It was embarrassing. Graham Potter's not going to leave Brighton. Ralph Hasenhuttl probably won't want to leave Spurs. Southampton. Steve Cooper wouldn't want to probably leave Nottingham Forest at this point. He wants to see how far he can go, and I get that. So those are three managers that I would probably say. I mean, the Sun today, and it is the Sun, but it's owned by Sky, has been linking Pochettino. We're the favourites to get Pochettino, allegedly. So,
but would he come though? I mean.
Well, this is it. And if he comes, he'll probably do what Ancelotti did at Everton. At the first sign of somebody else come knocking on the door, he would possibly leave. The thing you got. I mean, I said this in the BBC. Looking at Martin O'Neill didn't have any big games. And yes, I accept that Brendan Rodgers has done well while he's been here. Yes, he has. Ranieri won us the league and we sacked him the following season. And we were only 17th then. We weren't bottom. And with Martin O'Neill, he got the best out of the players that he got. Now, if I say to you that Leicester, 10 of the squad that beat Southampton 9-0 a few seasons ago, 10 of that squad are still in the squad that lost 2-1 to them this season. Yeah. We're not even standing still. We're actually getting worse. The manager, he's playing unbelievable. He's putting square pegs in round holes. He doesn't have a plan B, but it looked like the players couldn't understand that he had a C, D, E, and F, and he was playing all four of them at the same time. He has got worse over the year. He should be getting more out of the players because they're good players. Has he lost the dressing room? Who knows? I think he has, Chris.
I think he has lost the dressing room.
Yeah,
I think he has, because I think regarding him and the players, I can imagine Brendan Rodgers is a man that is he doesn't like change. You know what I'm saying? He's got a plan. He stick with it. Whether a player is going to turn around and say, "Well, look, Brendan, I'm in the team. Thank you very much. You've got me out playing on the left, but I'm better on the right." Do you know what I'm saying? And players is corresponding and all this and that. And maybe he needs to. If players has got problem with the manager, maybe the player should go in and have a word with him and say, "Well, why are you playing me in this position? Why don't you play me in that position? Why don't you play so and so behind him?" And therefore, we know we're better in these positions. But Brendan Rodgers is sort of manager. He's like, I don't care what you say. You're doing a job. You're getting paid to do a job, and you go there.
He's
right?
Stubborn as a no disrespect as a female on the period. He will not change his mind. he will not change his mind, and you cannot say anything to him.
I do know my missus is on.
Well, you're in a spare room, so I
am in a spare room.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, whether he will how long he'll still be, I don't know. There's rumours and he isn't on telly £10 million a year. I know that. I had Rob Tanner, who writes for The Athletic, on the show a few weeks ago, and he whilst he wasn't prepared to tell me what he's on, which I understand, he did say he's not on anywhere near 10 million. But it could
I think he's on about 6
to get rid of him. But then we will lose a hell of a lot more if we get relegated. But hey,
you look at that. Arteta signed a 3-year contract with us, and with that 3-year contract with us, that's put his wages up now. I mean, I could tell you for a fact, Arteta is on $6.5 million a year.
Yeah.
So Brendan's got to be roughly on around about that, I reckon.
I would guess so. Talking of Arteta, that leads me very nicely to the last game.
But I do want to say, Chris, I think that was a good win. That was a good win for Brighton, and I just want to say, McAllister, what the 2 goals he scored and that free kick.
Oh yeah,
blimey, to make it 5. I just want. I'm not saying it to rub more salt into the wounds or anything like that, but I just want to say it was because I actually watched this game at home, and in all fairness, I can see. I was watching your stream at the same time, and I think it was just. Well, for me, if I was a Leicester fan, I think that most probably would have. You've got to say it. Most probably would have sucked the life and soul out of you. Do you know what I mean? So it's
when Richard says there we're not getting Nigel Pearson back. In fairness, love him to bits, but I'd have him back if he had Shakespeare and Walsh with him, because that was the team that worked for us. But 1-0 up after 50 seconds. Well, you couldn't have done better.
Yeah.
But
well, that's right. Yeah, but I mean, he's got Nigel Pearson. He's got Bristol City up until 3rd now in the Championship.
Yeah. Again, but he's another one that's very stubborn, and won't have
he is. Yeah,
anything. Yeah. But I mean, you watch that when we were in the Great Escape year and we were at that bottom. Those players at Leicester at that time would have run through a minefield for Nigel Pearson.
Yeah,
they would have given their lives. This team won't,
no.
And that is the difference. And you've tried to put me off a couple of times there, but we're going to have to come to it, I'm afraid. The last game of the weekend, and I have to be honest with you, I predicted this as a 2-1 win to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Now I know. In fairness, Steve Lynitz won't, and he never will. And Brad went for the draw, but I have been so impressed with Arsenal, and I have them as finishing 5th, I think it was, in fairness to them. I have been absolutely impressed watching that Arsenal team play us. And again, as bad as we were, there has to be a certain point, like with Brighton, where you sort of say, well, the opposition didn't let us play. And Arsenal played us off the pitch that day. You have made some excellent signings over the summer. Arteta has done, to my mind, a brilliant job. I mean, I'm looking at it from the outside. Obviously, you'll tell me different in a minute, possibly as an Arsenal fan. But what he's done is come in. He's got the troublemakers out. He's got the age of the squad down. He's brought some I mean, Jesus, and what a signing! You know, you know, the owners have backed him, and he's got you top of the league. And yet, I am still hearing. After the Arsenal game, I was still hearing certain, and you know who they are, certain Arsenal supporters still moaning about him.
With you saying Arsenal supporters, I can most probably guess which one it was.
Well, yeah, you probably can do. And I said to him, because I said, what have you got to complain about? You just beat us 4-2 and playing like boss. But his game plan wasn't very good. I'm like, for fuck's sake, what do you need? You know? I don't. You've got to be happy. I mean, all right, this game was well. Credit to Man United. You know, I didn't watch this game. I was trying to. I put my head in the oven after the Brighton game. I forgot it was electric, and I couldn't afford to kill myself. You've got. I watched the Man United Liverpool game, and again I got that wrong because I thought Liverpool were going to wipe the floor with them, and Man United played. You know, they were bottom a couple of weeks. Well, in the bottom three a couple of weeks ago with no points, and they've turned it round. And Eric Ten Hag. Oh, it's not going to last possibly, and it's a long season. But it was a one-off game. But you've got to be so pleased with the way your season has started, because I think Arsenal, whether you will challenge or not, but you could certainly maybe displace Liverpool as City's main challengers.
Yeah, you can do. I mean, you compare Arsenal from last season. I mean, losing our first 3 games to Brentford, Chelsea, and Man City. You know, and you know, and we it was like 3 games or maybe 4 games of last season, and we were 20th. We were rock bottom. Like I'm not being funny, Chris, but how Leicester is now.
Yeah, no, you were. I quote that. I do quote that, yes. And
the way I look at it is, all right, I know Man United won the game. There was certain issues. I felt Arsenal played well in the first 60 minutes. Obviously, that by 60 minutes, the game was at 1-1. You know, so we were thinking, right, hang on, we got back into this game. We had a goal disallowed. Martinelli scored the goal, but they said that the goal was disallowed because Odegaard, I can't remember who he sort of gently, I'm going to use the word gently again, nudged. And then it got ruled out. So, I mean, to me, it was over a 50-50 whether you want to blow up, you know, if it was a tackle, you know, like a foul or whatever. I personally didn't think it was. People might think I'm being biased, but then I go on throughout the game, and that bloody McTominay, he literally grabbed one of our players. I think it may have been Jesus or someone like that. He's literally grabbed him from the waist, picked him up, and he shoved him down. Like, the only move you see in that is in WWE wrestling.
I got to agree 100%. He was like that against Leicester. He is a dirty bugger.
Yeah, and I couldn't believe it. But it was like they turned around, looked at the referee, like to say, well, what are you doing? The referee's seen it. He's gone, play on. Literally like that when he's like, play on, and he played on. So in all fairness, it makes me think. I don't think ours was a foul. I think, but if that second goal, well, the first goal we scored actually, I think if that was allowed, and then obviously scoring our second goal, which was obviously from Saka. I believe that score. I don't think we would have lost that game. I think it would have been 2-2 to be honest with you, and that was the scoreline I had down for that game was a 2-2 draw.
I have to be honest that you know, James was just saying Arsenal controlled the game, and again I know you don't like stats, but you had 2/3 of the possession, you had more shots. You had 16 shots, and I can't believe I'm looking at this when you've got players like Jesus in the team. You had 16 shots with only 3 on target. Why can't you do that when you played us?
Trouble is, though, I know what you're saying, but do you know what that I could tell you the answer to that question. Is the Man United centre back is Martinez.
Mm.
To be honest with you, what a defender he is. He's the same height as me, Chris. He's 5'9". He's a centre back. His disadvantage is obviously in the air because he can't jump up high enough to win the ball, but he got Varane and other players around him that can do that. But the advantages that he's got is on the ground, because you watch his ball movement. His tackles are timely, like superb, like superbly timed and all that. And his passing, he gets stuck in and all this and that. He is such a brilliant defender. And I tell you what, if a real big team comes in for him, that Man United have want at least 100 million for him plus, because he's young and he's an absolute brilliant defender. And we were linked with him, and I wish we had him, and we could have bombed like Ben White. Right. And the other thing as well I want to talk about, Chris, on this on the discussion with Arsenal, is I know that we're top of the league and all this and that, but I look at it, okay, fine, fair enough. We've won all our games. The teams we played against, they've scored against us in I think we kept one clean sheet, and that was against Crystal Palace. Right? So I look at it that way, but I look at it in another way. I don't think Arsenal has been tested this season. This game, Man United, was the main tester for us. And I'm not saying it bad, as in Arteta out and this and that. I just look at it, and I don't think that Arsenal has been really tested this season until we are obviously on Sunday's game, Man United. That was the main tester for us to see how we can play against these top teams. So obviously, Man United, obviously we've lost. My prediction was
this season. Yeah, you started off beating Palace 2-0 in the Friday game. You then beat some team from the Midlands. Don't know who it was, 4-2. You put 3 past Arsenal, 2 past Fulham, 2 past Villa, 3 against Arsenal, 3 against you lost to Man United. But Man United, and I get it a little bit, I do get it a little bit, that Man United are the first big team, if you like, that you have lost to. And I could say that in the fact that I have said it about Leicester, is that, well, we've played Arsenal, we've played Chelsea, we've played Man United, and we've got Tottenham the week after next. So that's 4 of the top 6 will have played in our first 8-9 games. So it was never going to be an easy start for us. But you can still not necessarily have great success against the other top teams, but you can still have a good season overall because you weren't dropping points. You beat Aston Villa. Manchester City dropped points against Aston Villa.
Well, yeah, but it's like I said.
I've got you there.
Yeah, you have got me there. You have got me there. Yeah. It's just the way how I look at things and see things, and I look at
team definitely, yeah.
Yeah, and I look at it, I just feels like we haven't been tested until obviously we played Manchester United. So I mean, these teams that we played against, they haven't done that great. I mean, obviously, apart from, I think Palace are good. I think the only thing they're lacking, Palace, is a striker. For me, I mean, someone that can get them goals. But all the other teams, I mean, they're either, I mean, not being funny. You've got Leicester that's not playing good, and people, and Brendan Rodgers is not doing well. At the time when we played Villa, you could say the same thing about Steven Gerrard. We played, who did we beat? We played Bournemouth, didn't we? Beat Bournemouth. And look at that time with Scott Parker. They haven't really achieved anything, have they, Bournemouth? I think they will. I think they'll be one of the teams going down this season. That's a fact. And the other teams as well. But I mean, to be honest with you, it's like what I said. Man United has bought in good players, and Ten Hag he's changed his team. I mean, they didn't have a great start to this season, did they? Manchester United. They lost to Brighton. and Brentford. But it's like what I said is, but that they're listening to him. I mean, these things just take time. But he's a new manager in this, but he's a manager. It don't take no messing around. Ten Hag, you don't take no messing. And sometimes it's nice to have a manager like that. Yeah. You find out if your players like you and if they got respect for you, and if they have, not would they only show it on the training pitch, they would actually show it out there on the pitch playing the game as well. Yeah. And that's what Man United's got.
Yeah. I'm just going to end and say that Chelsea lost tonight in the Champions League to Dinamo Zagreb, 1-0. And their new second most expensive defender ever, Fofana, got voted by the Chelsea fans. They gave him 3.2 as a mark for the game. So, Chelsea, money well spent. Well done, Chelsea.
What's that? Another Maguire, is it?
Well, could well be. Anthony, I was going to say thank you. I appreciate the fact that you've come on sort of very, very late notice. So do appreciate that. Let me just get rid of that. There we go. Appreciate that. We've got Steve Linux, as I'm sure won't be giving you anything in his predictions at 9:00.
Well, I thought that, but I will be watching. Fingers crossed. He might at least once. He might go for an Arsenal win.
Oh, no, he won't. You know he won't. And Anthony, thanks very much, mate. You say your links are in the description below. Take care, and thanks for coming on. All the best, mate.
That's all right, Chris. Thank you very much.
Take care, buddy. Bye-bye.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Thanks to Anthony. Helped me out. Great there coming on and some great thoughts now. So we're going to be back at 9:00. Whoa, it's a quick turnaround, 40 minutes. And we will see you then with Brad and Steve Lennox. And we'll be doing the Prediction League. I'm not bottom anymore. I think that's more because Steve's back more than me actually doing very well. See you at 9:00. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching. And if you've been listening, thanks for lending me your ears. Good night.
That's all, folks.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
This week's episode has come to an end. But the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
Leicester Till I Die TV. They think it's all over. It is.